The desert stretched endlessly under two pale suns. Sand swirled in long, slow spirals, carving tiny patterns across the land. It was quiet, almost too quiet, until a small team of explorers appeared over a distant ridge. They were not human. Their skin shimmered faintly, changing color with the sun's angle. Their eyes were larger than human eyes, dark and reflective, and their limbs moved with precise control, a result of centuries of evolution on a harsh homeworld. Lyra led the team. She was a xenobiologist, someone who studied life from other planets. She had seen strange creatures, odd plants, and even unusual weather patterns, but this mission was unlike any she had ever faced. Reports had indicated the presence of an object buried beneath the desert sands. The team's scanners had picked up unusual energy readings that did not match any known technology. Something old, yet alive. As they approached, the object slowly emerged from the sand, a wooden hull of a ship. Its planks were dark with age, streaked with the sand's gold and red. At first, the explorers thought it was a relic, a ship left behind centuries ago. Wood, on a desert planet. In the galaxy, technology had long replaced wood with stronger alloys and energy shields. A wooden ship should have been long gone, but here it was, almost untouched by time. Lyra stepped closer, feeling an odd pull in her chest. "It's breathing," she whispered to her team. Her companions turned to look at her, puzzled. "I don't mean literally," she said quickly. "It's alive somehow, I can feel it." "Alive?" asked Torin, the team's engineer, skepticism clear in his tone. "It's wood. Wood doesn't live." "You don't feel it?" Lyra asked. She placed her hand on the hull. The surface was warm, pulsing beneath her fingertips. A slow, steady rhythm, like a heartbeat, traveled through her hand and up her arm. She could feel the wood responding to her presence, as if acknowledging her touch. Torin hesitated, then reached out. His fingers brushed the hull. The pulse moved under his hand too, and a shiver ran down his spine. Even the usually calm aliens looked uneasy. "That's impossible," Torin said. His voice wavered. "No machine, no organic, nothing should do this." Lyra smiled faintly. Humans built wonders. She had read about human ships before, long ago, in historical records. Stories of courage, ingenuity, and survival beyond reason. Yet seeing it here, feeling it, made her believe the stories were just the beginning. The team circled the ship. It was large, though not enormous, big enough to hold a crew of a dozen humans, the records had suggested. The wood was polished with care, carvings running along its sides. Strange symbols glowed faintly where the carvings intersected, faint like embers. It was not just a ship. It was art, engineering, and life all in one. Lyra knelt by the hull. "These markings, they are some kind of code," she said, "encoded in the wood itself. Perhaps a message or a record." She brushed her fingers across the carvings. The glow brightened, flowing along the grain like a river of light. Her heartbeat quickened. The ship was responding. Torin frowned. "Responding? It's a ship, not a creature." "Perhaps humans made it both," Lyra said. "Alive yet functional, a protector, a recorder, a survivor." The ship's hull vibrated more strongly, as if in agreement. Small grains of sand shook off the planks, and a low, almost inaudible hum resonated in the air. The team looked at each other. Even the toughest members felt unease rising in their chests. Something in the desert was not just old, it was aware. A sudden gust of wind swept across the dunes. The hull shifted slightly, moving as if taking a step or perhaps leaning toward Lyra. The team froze. None of their sensors could detect motors, engines, or hidden supports. The movement was organic, almost intentional. "It knows we are here," Lyra whispered. She placed both hands on the hull. The heartbeat grew stronger, filling her entire body with warmth and vibration. Images flashed in her mind, humans sailing star systems, navigating unknown worlds, fighting storms and dangers no alien could imagine. Courage, creativity, determination. Every pulse seemed to carry a story, a memory, a lesson from long ago. Torin stepped back, shaking his head. I've never seen anything like this. I can't explain it. Lyra rose slowly, brushing sand from her shoulders. Perhaps it does not want us to explain it. Perhaps it wants us to feel it. She gestured for the team to be cautious. We must be careful. This ship survived centuries. Perhaps it survived for a reason. The team scanned the surroundings. No other life existed for miles. The desert was silent, but the ship's heartbeat filled the air. It was not threatening, but it was strong. Something ancient, something human, still lingered within it. As the sun dipped lower, the hull began to shimmer in the fading light. Tiny points of energy traced the carvings, patterns moving like veins of a living organism. The aliens marveled. Nothing in their studies had prepared them for this. Lyra knelt again, studying the markings more closely. This is encoded history, she said. The humans left more than a ship. They left knowledge, memories, perhaps even a warning. A sudden crack echoed across the dunes. The ship's main deck shifted slightly, and a small hatch opened as if inviting them inside. Torin hesitated. You want to go in? Lyra looked at him, her eyes reflecting the glowing patterns. We need to. Whatever this is, it survived for a reason, and it wants to be found. The team activated their lights and cautiously entered the ship. The interior was astonishing. Wood walls glowed softly, pulsing with the same heartbeat. Carvings ran along every surface, and tiny holographic images floated in the air. Humans exploring planets, building structures, solving impossible problems. Every step they took triggered subtle changes in the glow. The ship seemed to respond to them, adjusting its light and vibration as if it understood their presence. The air smelled faintly of resin and oil, preserved over centuries. Lyra paused near the central chamber. This ship, it's more than a vessel, it's alive. It's a guardian. Perhaps even a teacher. Her words were soft, almost reverent. Torin nodded slowly, all replacing skepticism. And humans built it. He shook his head. I thought they were gone. I thought we had records, but nothing like this. The team continued deeper. The heartbeat became stronger, almost urging them forward. Strange symbols on the walls seemed to guide them, glowing brighter as they approached. The ship was not just a machine. It was a story, waiting to be understood. Suddenly, the floor beneath them vibrated slightly, more strongly than before. The ship's pulsing beat was now unmistakable, filling the chamber, resonating with their own hearts. The aliens felt something stirring in their minds, images, thoughts, feelings, courage, curiosity, hope, memories of humans exploring, surviving, thriving. Lyra smiled. It's calling us, not threatening us, calling us to learn. Torin shivered. I don't know if I should be excited or scared. This thing is alive. It's incredible and terrifying. Lyra placed a hand on the central panel. The glow intensified and the heartbeat became almost deafening in its rhythm. The wood seemed to shift under her palm, rearranging slightly, revealing a narrow staircase leading downward. It's leading us, she whispered. It wants us to follow. I think it wants to show us something. The team exchanged uneasy glances but moved together, descending the stairs. Each step felt like walking deeper into the memory of humans, into a world that existed long before they were born. The ship pulsed with life, a silent guide and a promise. As they reached the bottom, a large chamber opened before them. In the center was a strange pod, made of wood and metal combined. Faint pulses of light traced along its edges. The heartbeat they had felt from the outside was strongest here, emanating from the pod itself. Lyra knelt near it, brushing the surface. The pod reacted, the pulse quickening slightly. This is incredible, she breathed. It's waiting for someone or something. Torin's voice was barely a whisper. Humans. I think humans are inside. The team stared, unsure whether to be afraid or awed. The ship's heartbeat echoed in the chamber, strong, steady, and alive. Whatever was inside the pod, it had survived centuries. and somehow it had been waiting for someone to discover it. Lyra placed her hand firmly on the pod. The pulse synchronized with her own heartbeat, steady, reassuring, almost welcoming. She felt a surge of understanding. This was not a trap, not a machine to fear. It was a guardian, a record of human greatness, a reminder that humanity had left something extraordinary in the galaxy. The team took a deep breath. Whatever lay ahead, it was clear one thing: the story of humans was far from over. The pulse continued, rhythmic and strong, echoing across the silent desert, a heartbeat in the long-forgotten sands. The chamber was quiet, but the silence felt alive. The soft pulse from the pod filled every corner, vibrating through the walls and floor. Lyra and her team remained frozen, staring at the strange combination of wood and metal. Their lights reflected off the pod's surface, illuminating faint patterns that danced like fire across the walls. Torin finally broke the silence. "I've never seen anything like this." How long has it been here?" Lyra shook her head. "Centuries, maybe longer. Humans built it to survive, to wait. It seems aware, waiting for someone to find it." The pod's pulse grew stronger as Lyra moved closer. She reached out carefully, running her fingers over the surface. The wood beneath her touch warmed slightly, humming against her palm. A strange vibration traveled up her arm, almost like a voice speaking directly to her mind. "It's alive," she whispered. "Not alive like us, but alive. It responds to touch, emotion, presence." Her team hesitated, but curiosity outweighed fear. Torin cautiously approached, placing his hand beside hers. The pulse adjusted, growing calmer as if acknowledging their combined presence. A low hum began to fill the chamber, almost musical, vibrating through the walls. "Lyra," said Selin, the communications specialist, "I think it's trying to show us something." Lyra nodded. "I think you're right." She placed both hands firmly on the pod. Patterns of glowing light appeared along the carvings, spreading across the room. The air shimmered slightly, and suddenly faint images appeared, floating above the pod like tiny holograms. The team gasped. They were seeing humans, ancient humans long gone. Humans exploring strange worlds, building complex machines, studying alien creatures. One human climbed a steep cliff on a distant planet. Another guided a small group through a forest of towering plants. Yet another faced a violent storm, yet stood firm, holding the crew together. Torin's eyes widened. They weren't just surviving, they were thriving, even against impossible odds. Lyra smiled. Humans were never ordinary. Every story we've read, it barely scratches the surface. This pod, this ship, it preserves more than technology. It preserves the human spirit. The holograms shifted, showing scenes of humans building ships, discovering new worlds and solving problems that no other species could. The team watched silently, captivated. The pulsing of the ship seemed to synchronize with the images, as if reinforcing the courage and determination displayed. Then, the ship reacted differently. The carvings along the walls began to glow brighter, flowing like rivers of light toward the pod. A soft vibration ran through the floor, stronger than before. The team instinctively stepped back, but Lyra remained, studying the movement. "It's preparing," she said slowly. "I think it wants to awaken what's inside." Torin swallowed hard. "Awaken." "Are we talking about a human?" Lyra nodded. "Possibly. This pod might contain someone or something human, suspended, preserved, waiting." The pulse quickened. The air in the chamber grew warmer. Tiny sparks of light danced along the floorboards, forming shapes that resembled letters, symbols, and maps. The ship was communicating, not with sound, not with words, but through vibration, light, and memory. Selin frowned, scanning the patterns. "It's a code. A language I don't understand, but it's meant to teach, to inform, to guide." The team took a cautious step closer. Lyra placed her hand on the pod again. A faint hiss sounded, like air escaping, but no one panicked. Slowly, the top of the pod began to open, revealing a figure curled inside. wrapped in layers of a soft, glowing material. The heartbeat Lyra had felt from the outside was now centered here, pulsing stronger than ever. The team held their breath. For a moment it seemed the desert outside the entire galaxy had disappeared, leaving only the ship, the pod, and the mysterious figure inside. Then, with a soft sigh, the figure moved. Fingers stretched and the human inside opened their eyes. They were pale yet strong-looking, with hair that shimmered faintly in the pod's glow. Their eyes scanned the chamber, wide with wonder and caution. Lyra took a careful step forward. You're human." The figure nodded slowly. Their voice was soft but clear, amplified by the ship. I have waited." Torin whispered almost to himself. "I thought humans were extinct." The human tilted their head, studying the team. "Extinct? Humans never forget themselves. We preserve, we endure, we survive." Lyra felt a wave of emotion. "We found you, after centuries. The ship, it preserved you, it's alive." The human smiled faintly. "Yes, and it waited for the right beings to arrive, to learn, to understand. Not all are worthy, but you are curious, cautious, and respectful. You may see what others cannot." The team exchanged amazed glances. The pulse of the ship seemed to sync with their own hearts. It was more than a vessel, it was a bridge, connecting them with a species thought lost. The humans slowly rose from the pod, their movements careful but confident. They touched the carvings along the walls, and the glowing symbols shifted under their fingers, revealing even more holographic images. This time the images were instructions, schematics of ships, survival techniques, and knowledge that humans had gathered over centuries. Selen leaned forward. "This is incredible. The amount of knowledge, it's beyond anything we've ever recorded." The human nodded. "Humans survived because we were clever, adaptable, and cooperative. We faced impossible odds and thrived. The galaxy underestimated us, but the ship preserves our legacy." Torin studied the human carefully. "And the ship, it's alive, semi-conscious. How is this possible?" The human smiled faintly. "Humans do not only build for function, we build for life, for survival, for memory. The ship is our gift, our guardian, our record. It protects knowledge, sustains life, and waits for those who are ready to learn." Lyra stepped closer. "Why now? Why did it wait so long?" The human looked around, as if sensing the desert beyond. "The galaxy moves fast. Many civilizations rise and fall. Some seek power, others knowledge. The ship waits for balance. For beings willing to learn, to respect life, to understand that survival is more than strength. It is wisdom." The team remained silent, absorbing the words. Even Torin, usually the skeptic, was speechless. The human gestured toward a central console, and the carvings shifted, forming a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Paths of light connected planets, star systems, and unknown regions. Humans explored beyond what was expected. "We preserved knowledge of worlds, species, and challenges. It is a gift for those who seek it responsibly." Lyra felt a deep respect rising in her chest. The ship of the humans, it's teaching us, showing us what they could do, what humans are capable of. The human nodded. "Yes. Humans are more than machines, more than tools. We endure, we adapt, we create, we preserve." Suddenly, the ship pulsed again, more strongly. The holographic images expanded, filling the chamber. The walls themselves seemed to breathe, pulsing with life. It was no longer just a ship. It was a living memory, a human archive, a record of bravery, ingenuity, and spirit. Torin whispered, awestruck, "I've never felt anything like this. It's alive. The ship, the humans, everything." The human placed a hand on the wall. "It is alive because it carries life. Not just my life, but all humans who built, dreamed, and persevered. It is our voice across time, our heartbeat across the galaxy." Lyra stepped closer. "Will you share more with us?" The human smiled. "Yes, you are worthy. You have curiosity, you have respect. You will see what humans achieved, what humans endured, and perhaps what humans can teach again." The chamber filled with light, pulsing and glowing as the ship began to reveal more of its hidden memory. Scenes of exploration, problem-solving, teamwork and courage unfolded before the team. They saw humans surviving storms, facing alien predators, building settlements on barren planets, discovering new species, and overcoming impossible odds. Selin whispered, It's a history, a lesson, a story all in one." Lyra nodded. "And it's alive, not just memory. It's still thinking, still responding. It waits for the right minds, the right hearts." The pulse of the ship continued, steady and strong. The team felt it synchronizing with their own heartbeats. It was more than alive. It was teaching them, guiding them, connecting them with the essence of humanity. Torin finally spoke, voice filled with wonder. "Humans, we underestimated them, completely. They are extraordinary." The human nodded. "And the ship will continue to teach, to guide, to preserve. Humans never truly vanish. We leave marks, we leave lessons, and we endure." Lyra placed her hand on the central console. "Then we will learn, we will understand, and we will honor this gift." The human smiled faintly. "Yes, and one day perhaps others will discover humans too, and remember that strength alone is not enough. Curiosity, courage, creativity, these are what make humans extraordinary." The chamber pulsed, the ship alive with light, knowledge, and heartbeat. The explorers felt a connection, across time, across space, across species. They were no longer just visitors. They were students, witnesses, and participants in a legacy that stretched centuries and still lived within the rhythmic heartbeat of wood, metal, and memory. And as the holograms continued to dance, showing humans braving storms, discovering new worlds, and building extraordinary ships, Lyra understood one truth above all. Humanity was not just a species. Humanity was a spark, a force, a heartbeat that would echo across the galaxy long after stars had dimmed. The chamber was alive with light and vibration. The holograms continued to swirl around Lyra and her team, each one a moment from human history, every one a lesson. The human who had awakened from the pod stood tall, their eyes steady and calm, radiating confidence built over centuries of preparation and survival. Lyra watched, captivated. "You preserved all this knowledge, all these experiences. Humans really were extraordinary." The human smiled faintly. "Not extraordinary in the way some think, not powerful or invincible. Humans survive because we adapt, we create solutions, we work together, and we endure. That is why the ship is alive, why it waited. Humans leave marks that cannot be erased." Torin shook his head in disbelief. "Even centuries later, even when everyone thought humans were gone, you survived." "Yes," the human replied. "We never truly disappear. Knowledge, memory, courage, they are stronger than time. And the ship, it carries us forward, teaching those who are willing to learn." Lyra glanced at her team. Selin and Torin had stopped scanning, stopped questioning, and were fully absorbed in the glowing projections around them. The ship had become more than a vessel. It was a living archive, a classroom, and a guide. The human stepped toward the central console. "This ship is a gift. Humans built it to endure challenges no single being could face alone. It is alive because it protects our legacy. It survives because it is designed to interact with intelligent minds, to recognize curiosity, courage, and respect." Lyra nodded slowly. "We are ready to learn, teach us." The human's eyes gleamed. "Then watch closely." Humans faced worlds filled with storms, predators, and endless challenges. We learned to observe first, act second. We learned to work together, to solve problems no one else could solve, to preserve life even when it seemed impossible. And we never gave up. A hologram of a human crew appeared on a rocky, wind-blown planet. They were setting up a shelter against a violent storm, working together seamlessly. The wind whipped at their clothes, dust filling the air, yet they moved with purpose, each motion precise. Torin whispered, They planned, adapted, even in the worst conditions." The human nodded. "Adaptation, observation, creativity. Humans have always relied on their minds as much as their strength. Even when machines seemed superior, humans could achieve more through ingenuity, teamwork, and determination. The ship pulsed with light as if agreeing. The carvings along the walls glowed brighter, and the heartbeat of the vessel grew stronger, syncing with the human's own pulse. Selin moved closer. You didn't just survive, you thrived. You explored, discovered, and left your mark across the galaxy. The human turned to her. Yes, and we prepared for moments like this, to share our knowledge, to ensure that the lessons humans learned are not lost. This ship is our bridge, our message, our gift to the galaxy. Lyra stepped forward, her hand hovering over the console. Then help us understand. Show us how humans did what no one else could. Teach us to think, to endure, to create. The human nodded, pressing a section of the console. The holograms shifted, now showing humans working with alien species, navigating diplomacy, building alliances, solving conflicts without violence, and creating technology that harmonized with nature. Torin's jaw dropped. They weren't just explorers, they were teachers, inventors, peacemakers. Yes, said the human. Humans are many things. Strength alone does not define us. Knowledge, creativity, patience, courage, and compassion, these are our true powers. And the ship preserves these qualities. Lyra reached out to touch a hologram. As her hand passed through it, she felt a faint warmth, almost as if the human in the image were aware of her presence. It's incredible, she whispered. I can feel the determination, the courage, the hope. The human's expression softened. Humans always hope. Even in the darkest moments, we hope, we plan, and we act. That is why we endure. That is why the ship exists. A new hologram appeared, humans exploring a barren, frozen planet. The wind was brutal, the terrain impossible. Yet the crew worked together, building shelters, conserving energy, and finally uncovering a hidden resource that allowed them to survive. The team watched in awe. Selin gasped. Even here in this frozen wasteland, they adapted, they never gave up. Exactly, said the human. No matter the challenge, humans find a way. We learn, we innovate, we survive. That is our legacy. Lyra nodded, feeling a surge of pride. And now we can learn from it. We can carry your lessons forward, share them, and honor your legacy. The ship pulsed brighter, a rhythmic wave that flowed through the chamber. The carvings along the walls shifted, revealing star maps, routes humans had traveled, and data about countless worlds they had visited. The room seemed alive, responding to the human and to Lyra's team in perfect harmony. Torin spoke, voice trembling with awe. They were architects of survival, not just machines, not just warriors. Humans were something more. Yes, the human agreed. Humans are thinkers, planners, innovators, and dreamers. We leave traces across the universe not just through strength, but through wisdom, creativity, and courage. We endure because we understand life, because we cherish it, because we never stop trying. Lyra's eyes glistened. And the ship, it's a testament to all of this. Alive, breathing, teaching. Humans built a legacy that even time cannot erase. The human nodded. Yes, and it will continue. Humans endure not because they are invincible, but because they are relentless in their pursuit of understanding, improvement, and survival. That is why the galaxy remembers them. That is why this ship is alive. And that is why humans are special. The holograms shifted once more, now showing humans building advanced ships that harmonized with nature, terraforming planets, and cultivating new life forms. Each scene highlighted teamwork, creativity, and careful planning. Selin whispered, they left a blueprint for excellence. Not weapons, not domination, knowledge, adaptation, life itself. The human smiled. Exactly, that is what humanity represents. Strength alone cannot survive. It is the mind, the heart, and the will to endure that carries a species forward. That is why humans are admired, remembered, and now studied by others. Lyra stepped closer. Then help us learn, guide us. Let us carry your knowledge, your wisdom, your lessons into the galaxy. Let us honor the humans who came before. The human extended a hand and the ship pulsed in response. Light flowed from the carvings, forming a path through the chamber. You are ready. You understand what it means to respect life, to seek knowledge, to endure. Carry these lessons, share them, and remember, humans never truly vanish. Our legacy is alive in those who listen, learn, and act with courage and wisdom. Torin stepped forward, awe still written on his face. We will honor this. We will remember and we will apply these lessons. The human nodded. Good, you are part of the story now. Humans endure because they inspire others, because their legacy carries forward, because their spark reaches beyond time and space. This ship, its pulse, and its lessons are yours to carry. Lyra placed her hand on the central console. The pulse of the ship synced with her heartbeat. She felt the connection deeply, as if she could feel centuries of human struggle, courage, and innovation flowing into her own mind. We feel it. We understand. We will carry it forward. The human watched, calm and proud. Then the legacy continues. Humans endure, humans inspire, humans create, and in time the galaxy will remember, always. The chamber pulsed with light stronger than ever. The ship, alive and aware, radiated energy, wisdom, and memory. The heartbeat echoed across the desert, across worlds, across time, a living testament to humanity's enduring spirit. Lyra turned to her team. We have witnessed something extraordinary. Humans were not just survivors. They were creators, thinkers, explorers, and teachers. Their legacy lives through this ship and now through us, Selin nodded. We will carry it forward, not as conquerors but as students of the human spirit. Torin smiled, finally letting awe and admiration replace fear. And the galaxy will see what humans can do, even if centuries have passed. The human's eyes gleamed. Yes, humanity never truly ends. Our heartbeat continues wherever curiosity, courage, and creation thrive. That is the ultimate lesson of survival. That is the ultimate power of being human. The explorers watched as the ship pulsed and glowed, the heartbeat steady and strong. They understood now what it meant to preserve knowledge, courage, and wisdom. They understood why humans were unique, remarkable, and unforgettable. Lyra placed her hand on the hull one last time. Thank you, she whispered. We will remember, we will honor, we will endure, inspired by you. The human smiled, a serene and confident expression. And so the legacy continues. Humans endure because they inspire. They endure because they adapt. They endure because they never stop reaching for what is possible. The chamber fell silent, but the pulse remained, steady and unwavering. The ship, alive with human knowledge and spirit, stood as a guardian of hope and perseverance. Across time, across the galaxy, the heartbeat of humanity echoed, unstoppable, eternal, and extraordinary. The explorers left the chamber, carrying the lessons, the inspiration, and the hope that humans had created. They were no longer just observers. They were witnesses, keepers of a legacy that would resonate across stars, teaching generations to come what it truly meant to be human. And somewhere deep within the ship, the pulse continued, rhythmic, alive, a heartbeat that would never fade.